All right, good evening, Bailey. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Shall we pretend that we're not in the same house, under the same roof right now, just in different rooms?
Probably.
Um,
Probably.
all right. Hey, everyone. I'm Smitty. This is Bailey, and we're finally doing it. We're going to have a chat about endometriosis, kind of periods a little bit. We're really just sharing Bailey's journey.
Mm.
It's not. We're not saying this is how you heal things. We're just sharing your journey. It's pretty exciting, I think. And the way this started is you've been sharing a few little things, and I share a few things that you share about what you're going through, what you're experiencing, what you're playing with. And then you get a lot of feedback or a decent amount of feedback or interaction on Instagram, more than I do when I share about my stuff or anything like that. So I think it's cool. It's like you've got a new audience, you're an everyday person. And that's not that I'm not an everyday person, but if I share my thoughts on stuff on Instagram, I think people are just used to it.
Yeah.
Just think I'm on my just spilling some garbage or whatever. Whereas you've got a new audience that's not, well, at least your friends aren't used to you doing this type of stuff. So
Yeah.
and that's spurred us talking about sharing more, and then we thought we would do this. So it's pretty exciting. I really think this type of stuff is worth sharing, and I've experienced it a few times with people that I've lived with or been close with that through through the way I live or the way I talk or whatever, something happens and the person's out. I've helped people heal some skin issues through gut and stuff like that, but heal things. And for me, it stems from what I'm interested in, which is nutrition and health. For my sport, I'm trying to be as strong and as athletic and lean kind of as possible. And it ends up being the same type of foods that heal skin or heal endo or help period pain or the things we're going to discuss. So um, I'll throw it over to you now because this boy can talk. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to reiterate to everyone that we're not saying like we don't have some new discovery, I guess,
No.
that 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 we're claiming heals anything, but you've made tremendous progress and from where you were to where you are now and where we think you'll get to, it's definitely worth sharing. And although what works for you won't work for everyone, I really think if people had the approach that we've had,
Mm.
it can be slightly different foods, but if the belief is what we believe or the approach that we have, I think everyone in their own time could heal whatever they're going through. And that is my belief about the human body, which is a big part of this, is I believe that we can heal. So that's a
Mm.
big part of it. Anyway, can we start with what you've been diagnosed with in the past and then how it's affected you?
Yeah.
I'm assuming a lot of girls will be able to relate. And
Yeah.
then after that, speak about getting off the pill in the last 6 months.
Yeah, for sure. So when I was 15, went on the pill and I stayed on it for 3 years. And I was having migraines and I had a really bad one when I was 18. At the train station with my mum and I lost my vision. I couldn't feel my right arm. I couldn't hear anything. My words were coming out all wrong. And then I lost total vision. And woke up in hospital and they said that it was because of the pill. And so I had to stop taking it immediately. Um, and then after that is kind of when everything started going a bit pear-shaped. I did have the Implanon rod put in straight after that. And I had that in for a year before my body kind of, I won't say rejected, but my arm bruised up, and I was having a consistent period, a consistent bleed for weeks on end. And then the bruising came. So we took that out when I was 19 and then started working with a gynecologist. Um, so with the gyno, it was through a private hospital in Geelong. And we did a bunch of ultrasounds and tests and blood tests and everything. And it was kind of ruled that I had polycystic ovaries. I would say not enough investigation went into whether I had PCOS as a whole or just the polycystic ovaries. But it's easier to kind of say PCOS sometimes. And then it was a real look into endometriosis. So it was suspected endo. And then since then, I've had surgeries where they've had to remove by burning and kind of got that full diagnosis as well. So Um, the symptoms of that normally is horrific pain, like a day or two at the start of my cycle, can't get out of bed. Previously, like I would be bedridden in pain, heat packs, walking around with heat packs on, loading up on pain meds, just unbearable muscle pain throughout my whole body, as well as just like the period pain as well, back pain. So it was like really kind of when my period would start, my whole life would stop for a couple of days.
Mm.
And then the heaviness of the periods as well was just something that I just would dread. I could never enjoy myself at all at that period of time. So that's when we started looking into things. I was booked in for surgery to get the Marina. No, sorry, I was booked in to go under to get the Marina put in. So the Marina IUD, this is when I was 19. You can't put it in. Well, it's not recommended to be put in while you're awake if you haven't dilated before. So because I was 19, I never had a pregnancy. The best way to do it was to put me to sleep and insert it while I was under. Then my body rejected that. And that pain was just probably the most horrific pain I've ever felt for that day. And I ended up going to the ED that night, and they had to remove it while I was awake. And it literally felt I could feel it scraping down as they removed it. It was horrible, like something I wish I didn't remember.
Mm.
Um, so then they booked me in for another surgery. A few months later was when it was booked for, 4 months later. And through everything, all the talking with them and all of that, they said that my chances of conceiving naturally were next to none, based on kind of what we were looking at. So I didn't have birth control. And then, as some people who follow me or know, that then the day of my surgery, I found out that I was pregnant with
It's
Mackenzie.
incredible.
So
That's incredible.
crazy, crazy roller coaster of things. And in terms of like the diagnoses and the doctors and stuff like that, after that, I stopped seeing, like after I started my pregnancy, I stopped seeing the gynecologist. And so in terms of like investigating further, seeing damage after the pregnancy, whether it
Yeah.
reset everything, that's where it's kind of a mess. 2 years ago, I think it was, I still had I got the Marina re-put in, sorry, after Mackenzie was born, and I had that in for 3 years. And then I had it removed during surgery while I had endo burn, and I had cysts on my ovaries, and they also took my appendix out. So that's probably one of the most recent kind of bigger of the surgeries. And I had a surgery last year as well. So it's kind of ongoing, I would say. And yeah, the pain up until this time last year was still to that extent. So that's kind of the backstory in
Yeah.
a
So
nutshell.
you've had it as bad as the average woman is kind of the way I'm thinking about it. Is that there's some people that obviously won't go through any of that. A high percentage of people will go through something very similar, and then a smaller percentage will go through worse, right? So
Yeah.
kind of right in the thick of it. This is really like what you went through is common, and
Yeah.
that's something that I wouldn't have known how many women go through this now, how bad it is, and
Mm,
then also what we're getting to now is how not unnatural,
mm.
but how it's not supposed to be that way. And I
Yeah.
know you've been told like this is just how it is, or you've got this now, this is going to be like this forever. You'll never be able to do this. And just hearing you'll never be able, not you, I know they didn't say you'll never be able to conceive, but it was unlikely you'll be able to conceive naturally, and it happened straight away very easily. So I don't think these
Yeah.
doctors are dumb, and I don't think they're lying or evil, but there's
Yeah.
more things at play here than what science can ever show. And
Yeah.
I thought of this today. Actually, I didn't say this to you today. I was just thinking about it, how sometimes the microscope and looking at things so small, I think it's like it can be helpful, but I think it's a downfall sometimes of science is looking at things so internal and looking at the numbers and looking at the percentages and stuff like that it takes away um, the person and your
Mm.
beliefs and your will and God, and it just takes away luck, what we call luck, and things like that. So for people watching,
Yeah,
like I think that's just why we want to share this story. Things like that, you were told it's unlikely that you'd be able to conceive
unlike
naturally, and then it happened pretty
like
easily.
yeah, to say the least, and unexpectedly as
An
well. Because I
unexpected one, yeah.
think at that time I wasn't having a regular period as well. So when I got pregnant with Kenzie, I had a 2 week bleed, a week off, and then I continued to bleed up the month after. So
Yeah.
that's why when I went for my surgery, they made me do a pregnancy, a urine test, and there was no like I was like, oh, I just bled a week ago.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind that it was going to be negative, and then they said, no, you're 4 weeks pregnant. So that was why for me it was also kind of really unexpected as well. I wasn't cycle tracking, I wasn't in sync. Like
Yeah.
so
Yeah. No
I mean,
offense to people that are, that might be hard to hear for people. I'm just thinking some people that
yeah,
are
that's what I was just
doing
about
the
to say.
opposite.
It's
Yeah.
hard because I have friends that are the opposite side of it.
Yeah.
So it's something that can be really hopeful to know that sometimes things do just happen, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I think it's a very sensitive subject as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was very lucky with Ken's, but yeah, it's just blows my mind being told one thing and then it wasn't
Yeah.
that.
I wanted to keep this mainly about women stuff. I just wanted one thing about men, like I'll say about it through dating, right? So if a guy's dated a few women through his late teens and 20s, you might like you girls, there's so many different, I don't know if you talk about it with your girlfriends, or if you know too much about what they go through, or if it's
Mm.
common for girls to talk, but like you're all so different. Like I don't know. There's been I know girls that are just spot on, and their period is
Mm.
like it's to
Oh yeah.
it's like it's on a timer, and it's quite effortless, doesn't disrupt them at all. And then there's
Mm.
your version, and you might be somewhere in the middle where there's worse and better and things like that. But there is all different types of things. So I think if you're a partner or a father or something like that, like guys, I think should be interested. I find
Yeah.
it interesting, I think, because it's the human body, and if it's someone in my life, then it affects me directly. So I want to know more about it, but it does interest me, and I think men would benefit from being interested and learning more about it. Not even endo, but just your partner's cycle, where they're at, what they've gone through, where they're going, and maybe help. So to the guys out there, I just want to say, it would be great if you could be interested. If you're not interested in it, then whatever. But it would be great if you could be interested. That's all I wanted to say there.
I think it really makes it less isolating as well when that does happen. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, get on
So,
board. Yeah,
yeah.
like I've made jokes in the past with partners
Mm.
when they're going through that time and the mood changes and things like that. And then repeated similar jokes with other partners. They were going through the same time. And it wasn't as funny with that person. They didn't find it funny at all. So you've got different, it changes their mood, guys. It affects their mood. The only
Mm.
way that a guy can relate, that I can relate to it, and I might have said this to you, and I don't want to dismiss what you girls go through. I'm not saying it's like being hangry. I'm not comparing it to being hangry. I am not recording this saying that it's like, but it's
Yeah.
almost the closest thing that I can feel where things are different and I feel different as it
Yeah.
affects my energy and mood. And then as soon as like I'm fed, it's literally like the hormones change again and you can breathe differently and the world like
Yeah.
smells, looks, it does feel very different. And I think that's the only way I can relate to it. I'm not saying it's like
Yeah.
that. I've gone red. I'm like, I can't share.
Stressing.
I will share it because I don't care. But yeah, it does feel like that. So I think for the guy to learn more about it, for guys, for parents to discuss it, because it's not the same for all these girls. It can change month by month, can change year by year, and things like that. Can we move on to discussing? So, what was it about maybe 6 months ago? 6 months ago, you and I started chatting about it. I can't remember exactly, but it would be
Yeah.
pretty important to me if I'm close with you. It's pretty important to me that you're not on birth control for what I've learned about health and things like that. So I don't remember ever telling you to get off it or if you were already thinking about it and we chatted about it, but that decision really was yours, I believe.
Yes.
Tell me
Yes.
if I'm wrong.
No,
But
it
it was
was.
important to me that like there's nothing healthy about it, right? And that's not really
Mhm.
what we're sharing is going to be too much about. But
Yeah.
what made you want to get off it? What were you learning about or what were you thinking?
So I went on it when we started talking, was when I went back on the pill. And I remember I spoke to you about it before I started taking it. And you said that it was completely up to me, but I don't actually remember what the full
Don't
point.
do it
But
on
anyway,
my account. Don't do it on my account. Do it. Don't.
yeah, yeah,
Don't do
just
that.
because of me. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was when I started taking it, and then I was on it. So I started, it was a new one. It was called, it's Zolly, and it's only got one of the hormones on it. From memory, it's just progesterone, but I would need to double check that. But anyway, it's got one hormone on it. So my issue was my migraines. I couldn't have the Levlin pill that I used to have because of the estrogen in it. So if I've already, peak estrogen, which is what we've kind of worked out it is, having a estrogen tablet every day, it was that's what was causing the complications. But my doctor was really convinced with this progesterone pill, this will be fine. So I took that, and I strung the packets together because I was uneducated on. I've always heard, oh yeah, you can just string the packets together. Don't have a period for 3 months. As long as you have one bleed every 3 months, you'll be right. And I did that when I was on the pill when I was younger. And then so this time I was like, yeah, well, whatever. I'll just not have a period for 3 months and have a blissful time.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I strung them together, and it was in December. I started kind of research. It was being around you, taking my health a bit more seriously, going back to the gym, looking at how to better myself. And I started listening to podcasts, and I heard one which was on Raw Reality, which is Lily and Tori, and they were talking about the effects of the pill and stringing them together. And I was listening to this like, how did I not know this kind of thing?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so through my talks with you directly about, other medication and all of our health stuff that we were talking about, and you were educating me on, and then listening to this stuff and finding more and more, I was like, I need to stop this immediately. So I did. I just randomly stopped it. After Christmas, I think I got to the other side of Christmas, 26th, 27th. And I was like, all right, I'm done. I finished a pack. I'm done. I'm not buying a new one. And I started bleeding immediately.
Yeah. Now, is this when we went to Geelong?
This was the week before. And then,
Yeah.
yeah.
So tell us about that. So we went away for Geelong. This was my first time experiencing this with you or with
Yeah.
anyone. So tell us about that one. That was a heavy one.
Yeah. So that was because I stopped taking the pill.
Okay.
My body freaked out because I hadn't bled in 3 months. And it was ridiculously heavy. There was a couple of times while we were in Geelong, so we were there from, I don't know, just say the 2nd to the 6th, I think. And there was a couple of times I almost said like, I need medical help. Like this is not normal. I don't want to be too graphic with how much, but I would have 2 pairs of pants on and then 2 layers of period protection, if you wanted to say, and that would last me half an hour before I would bleed through. At least the first pair of pants, and that's why I had the second. I remember when we were training, I would have 2 pairs of shorts on, or I'd have shorts and pants. And I'd just be
so for
so
everyone listening,
paranoid.
during this time, we're on holidays
We're on
and
holiday.
it didn't even, it affected your mood a little. I know it was like it would have felt gross for lack of a better word, sorry, but if I can imagine it, like
No,
the
that was it.
feeling, yeah, you felt gross. I'm not saying it's gross, but you felt gross.
I
But
felt
you trained and you came with me everywhere. Like if you'd said, let's go to hospital, we'd gone to the hospital. So let's not,
mm.
yeah, I'm not saying
Oh no, no, no.
medical.
Yeah, 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 exactly right. It was
I'm not
I
saying F the
no, no,
system, but Bailey
no.
was like, there's 2 parts to this. It was heavier than, I don't know if it was heavier than ever. It was mega heavy. Did it go for 10 days or 2 weeks?
It went until February.
Oh,
It was
sorry.
like almost 6 weeks of constantly
No, that
heavy.
one
Like
stopped. Didn't it start again? I thought that one stopped for a bit. Didn't you have a break? Okay.
end of Jan, I took the progesterone hormone
You
straight
took
to stop
something
it.
else.
I
Yeah.
had two days of no bleeding, and then it
Yeah.
started again. And
Yeah.
so it didn't actually fully enter Feb.
Okay. So Bailey's going through something mega here. Also very unnatural. Yeah, we're not supposed to, no one's supposed to bleed like that for that long. But the reason we didn't, I mean, you did go get some pills to try and fix it. The reason we didn't have
Oh my
medical
God.
intervention, Bailey was still training. Your mood was actually okay. Sleep was fine. Everything was fine. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we were training. We were down at Strong Geelong, so we would be at the gym for up to 2 hours, maybe more. I wasn't training that whole time, but
Mm.
I would do an hour to an hour and a half of training. There was only one day where I was kind of like, okay,
Mm.
I've pushed it too far. But I also hadn't eaten much that day, so it could have been that as well. But I felt fine until I would go to the bathroom, or
Mm.
I, lie down and then, oh no, I have to get up. Like it was more of the worst inconvenience I could imagine, but I
Yeah.
was still able to go out for dinner. I was
Yeah.
still able to go and train and
Yeah.
get up at
I
normal
wouldn't have
time.
known. I wouldn't have known. Your mood was a little tiny bit off. Like as much
Mm,
as my mood's off sometimes, like it wasn't like
yeah. But it wasn't
big
like it
deal.
didn't ruin the holiday. It didn't
No.
I was still able to continue, which is what is the weird thing about it. And that's why I kind of let it happen. I didn't, if I was on the floor crying my eyes
Well,
out, it
that's
would
why I wanted to bring it up because
exactly.
that's a big part of my beliefs is because I've been told to go to the doctors for things like something happened, about my tooth,
Mm,
a back, things like that. I'm just like, if I can sleep normal, pee normal, eat normal, think if everything's normal about me, I don't go to the hospital. Personal opinion is if I've got something, if I've got a rash, something like that, if I feel fine, then I'm fine and my body is sorting itself out. That's a big belief of mine. Other people don't have to have that. But that's
yeah,
why with this period, for me, I was like, of course, something's going to happen. You've gone off the pill. There's going to be a change. And this change for you represented itself as very heavy and extremely long. And we monitored it every day.
yeah.
If you'd started having reactions, we would have sought medical help. That's what it's there
Oh,
for.
absolutely.
But for some
Yeah,
reason, this is what your body had to do, and you did get through it. But it was pretty rough. What was February's
yeah.
one like? February's period.
So yeah, so I ended up, when we got back, it was like Australia Day weekend that I decided to go and kind of get that help. Oh, no, it was earlier than that. I took the progesterone tablet. It was meant to kind of reset my system. Um, and so I took that for 10 days and I was bleeding that whole time. And then I had 2 days of kind of relief. And then the last week of Jan, that's when I had bleeding again, but it stopped around the 2nd or 3rd of Feb. And so that was like the best day ever because it had been almost, 6 weeks.
Mm.
So then my next cycle was actually at the end of Feb. So it was a bit earlier. It wasn't a full 28 days in between. Um, but that was kind of like my reset one.
Yeah.
However, that one I had my scary migraines again, where I can't see. And I was on the phone to you and you couldn't understand a word I was
Yeah.
saying.
You
Do you
started.
remember that?
Yeah, you were struggling. Couldn't string together sentences. Couldn't say three words in a row. You're kind of
Anything.
chuckling and laughing at yourself and got a bit embarrassed. And I said, just go. I think I just told you to hang up, or I hung up.
Yeah, you said just go to bed. But yeah, because that was the only way I could get through it. It was I was in my head, it was the right words. And then the pain. It was once I had pain relief that cycle. Nurofen pain, a period pain relief, every day. And I had aspirin for the migraines, and just had to kind of just suck it up and get on with it. I used to also get really sick for the first couple of days of my period as well. Feel like that was one of those where I was sick. I was off
Mm.
work. I do remember being off work. Um, so that wasn't great, that one. And then that's when we kind of started looking a bit more into, I was looking into the fasting. I was looking into, what are the 4 phases of my cycle?
Yeah.
The fact that I didn't know there was four
Yeah.
phases until this year. Like, are
Yeah.
you kidding?
Yeah.
And I looked into a bit more of what are my hormones doing? Where are they sitting at certain times? When should I be training harder? When should I? Oh, of course, I can't lift that weight that week. And then I started looking into it a bit more. So then the March one was a bit better. I was still having my pain relief. I still had my migraines. And it wasn't until we got back from Gold Coast that things started to change. So that was
Yeah, but even
April.
that period but it was on time, which I said was important. All,
It was
all
on
these
time.
ones were on time, so I think that's a sign of health. That's good. You were still
Yeah.
able, it knocked you out, but you were still able to do things a day later or something like that. Everything was back to normal. I saw it because I'm not in your body feeling it. I was able to at least, I just had full faith that your body was okay. That's the main
Yeah.
part is
Yeah.
people can't just copy you and think, oh, she went off the pill and it was hard, but she just grind through it. But you were okay. That's the point. I
I
know it
was
was
okay.
painful being in your body, but you could tell there was nothing bad happening. So make sure if you're out
Yeah.
there, girls, and you decide to go off it, if it's really hard the first 2 months, don't just think, oh, this is what Bailey went through, so I have to keep pushing. Like,
Yeah.
don't, everyone's
No.
different. Yours might be even worse than this, and you do need to get help or come off something slower or
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
learn
I've
about these
learned that
hormones first.
the best way to come off it is having a month working while you're still on it
Yeah.
to
Well,
prepare your hormones for when you come.
like any drug, and it is a drug. If you're having something
Yeah.
every day and it's affecting you that much, there's better ways to come off it. And I'm sorry for not knowing that at the time either or suggesting
Oh,
it. So we learn
yeah,
as we
no.
go.
Well, yeah, that's it. That's what this whole thing is about, is us learning. So then April was when it started to get better. So
Yeah.
April, I we weren't on the carrot yet, but
No.
I did look into my migraines, and I found that it was actually a thing of due to your hormone levels and lack of magnesium is what I read. There were these menstrual migraines. So it just recommended that this random website, couldn't even credit it if I wanted to. It was just so random it popped up. But it said to increase your magnesium intake the week before your cycle. So I was like, screw it, I'll just try it. So I went and I got some um BCAs from Muscle Nation, like just whatever I could find. And the week before my period, I'd had one every day, and I didn't have migraines that cycle. That was the first cycle
And
in
salts,
so
were you
long.
on the salts as well?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I was just on that, just random Muscle Nation one. And that the migraines not being there was great because you had a comp that weekend. And so
Yeah, okay.
that sucked. But that cycle hurt big time. So I remember being at your comp, and yeah, as I said earlier today to you, when you weren't there or no one was looking, I was like crouching down. I was like finding somewhere where I could just go like this and just breathe. A couple of times Tom came up and he kicked me as I was like this, and he had no idea the pain that I was in. And I did that one with no pain relief though. So
Yeah.
that was really important to me, was just letting my body do it. I knew it was going to suck. I knew it was going to hurt, but then I knew that there was probably a reason it needed to be that painful. And if I just let it do it once, like just stop fighting it, just see what happens. So that's what I did with that one. And it was rough. It was super heavy. I just remember walking around feeling like it was obvious to everyone around me that I was having this
It's not.
intensely heavy period. It's not, it's all
Awesome.
in my head. But that one was better. I was hopeful after that. And then after that weekend was when, you started looking into repeat a little bit more. We got on the carrot salads. I got onto the element salts instead of my BCAs and
Yeah.
random stuff. And so
Magic dust.
magic dust.
Pixie dust.
Yes. So the in between the April cycle and the May cycle was raw carrot salad pretty much every day. I would say 90% of the time it was every day. And salts every day as well.
Yeah.
Not just the week before my period.
Yeah.
And then the cycle that's just finished, it came
Was your
on the
best?
day it was meant to, with no pain. No pain. On the first day I'm talking about. Like I just discovered, oh, it's here on
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I wouldn't have known.
Incredible. No time off work. Don't they know at work? Aren't they even surprised at work that you're not taking as much time off now?
Yeah, they were like, yeah, you haven't had a migraine or you haven't had a day out. And I'm like, it's this.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was less heavy. Day one was next to nothing. I was like, wow, this is a normal period. This is what it's meant to be. Day 2 and 3 was a bit heavier, but still 50% better than what it was the cycle before. And then no pain, cramping a little bit, like tightness, but not like takes the breath out of you.
Yeah.
So for me, it's definitely not all healed. It's definitely not, oh, I'm done now, signing off.
Yeah, because we've had one
Is
pretty good one, but
we've had one. And to me, that's all that matters, is like, this is, I can see the light.
it's improving, and that was the point of this. We wanted to share because who wouldn't? Like, it's freaking life changing. Like, less time off work, which means more money, which means more productivity for your work, but more pay for you. You can spend more with Ken's, and there's just so much to it. It's life changing, changes your mood, which changes the way you perceive the world. I just think it's huge. We haven't really spoken too much about what you've done, right? We came off the pill, and I guess the main difference, without putting words in your mouth,
Mm.
but the last 6 months, it hasn't been a major focus. You listen to me chat about all my shit, and Bailey's eating more food. It's just real
Yeah.
food, whole food, real food, what else? Nutrient dense food, whatever you can call about it. We're trying to get off the seed oils and vegetable oils. We're trying to look into what promotes hormone health and what does this hormone, what this mineral, blah blah blah. But it all comes down to eating foods.
Yeah.
And if you need more magnesium, you also need the foods that help you um, digest or
Absorb.
absorb
Yeah.
magnesium. And it all ends up being the same food.
Yeah.
Whether you're trying to grow like I want to be, when I wanted to be brown and muscular, when I was going through that, it's
Mm.
the same foods that make you absorb the sun and feel the sun and feel energized. It's all the same food, guys, and it's not complicated. I
No.
won't go into, I felt like I was about to get into a rant then, but I'll catch myself. She's on good food. The training, your training's improved. You've been great with training, but lately, what's your average? Once a week?
Once a week,
Twice a week is your average.
maybe
There was a
twice.
time you got 3 or 4 times in a week. So training's important, but you're just training a little bit when you can, not fully draining yourself and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because yeah, when we met, I was doing it 4 times a week, I would say. I was for the first couple of months. And then yeah,
And we want to
since
get back to that. It's just been
oh
time, hasn't it? It's
that
just
we
been
will get back.
time. But
Yeah, yeah.
you've been able to make improvements despite not being able to get to the gym too much. So it's the food, but
I think it's food.
you spoke a bit about belief. Belief is huge on things, and hope you said I'm not going to take pain relief in that April one because it feels like I just need to get this bad one out the way. And there will be no evidence to support that. You won't be able to read about that. That's not something that someone like myself or you can say, hey, everyone, all you need is to get through one hard one. But
Mm.
that's what it felt
No.
like for you. You listened to it, and then your next one was better. And now you've got belief that
Yeah.
it can get better. So that's why when people like us give advice, we're not really giving advice, but that's why all this stuff is so individual. You
Yeah.
got to listen to your body. If something feels wrong, then go see someone about it and stuff like
Mm.
that. But your body can heal. That would be my main thing that I guess I want to share with people is I really have a belief with lots of evidence, and the evidence comes to me every day that the body can heal, and it's not meant to be this difficult for you ladies. And I feel for you ladies because you have to do periods and birth, and us men, honestly, we don't have to do any of that stuff, right? So I really think we should help you ladies out with that by understanding it and then helping
Mm.
you through it. And then we take on, what burdens do we have? I don't
No,
know.
we've spoken about it before. You take
Yeah.
the outside, but
I feel like
yeah.
guys, we're supposed to have more muscle mass, and we're supposed to be stronger individuals,
Mm.
physically stronger. So therefore, I think we're supposed to work. I think men are supposed to work and support, and I think women are supposed to love and provide and care. That's not
Yeah.
what this is about, though. Don't make me say shit like that. I'll get in trouble. But that's a belief. And I mean, all
Yeah.
these beliefs, I find them healing. And being around
Yeah.
other people, I think they find it healing as well. So
Yeah.
thanks
No.
for sharing all that. Let's quickly, I know there's a couple minutes before this thing ends.
Yeah.
What's some things tell us about the carrot salad? Because all we've really given people now is a story and hopefully some hope.
Yeah.
But share something. What do you eat? What do you think has helped? What do you feel has helped where you're at?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I think has definitely helped is trying to focus on a 80/20 whole food diet. If I can at least have my main meals whole food. I'm horrible with breakfast, though, you know that. A lot of the time I do skip breakfast. But the main things that I am trying to focus on is the carrots, which is just grated carrot in long strips with a little bit of apple cider vinegar, coconut oil, salt, and we've been adding Parmesan cheese on
Yeah.
top.
So
Um,
don't mean to sidetrack you, but it kind of has been the biggest change we've made is that carrot salad, and we're both doing it.
yeah.
So can you just explain, we chatted about it before, but can you remember what the point is of the carrot salad? Because that's a
I
quick
feel
one.
like this
Like
is
chicks can do that
better.
tomorrow, and like
Oh yeah,
they
yeah.
might notice a change on their next period.
Yeah. So I think the reason it works for me is because of the higher estrogen in my
Mm.
body. It flushes out. So the carrot is indigestible. You're better at explaining the stuff than
No,
me,
that was
but
good. But do you
it,
stumble because you're about to say undigestible? Because that's what I do.
no,
Oh,
no,
that's what I
I
thought.
just I just don't back myself. But
Yeah.
anyway, it flushes out kind of stuff in your gut that you don't need. And one of those things being estrogen, dirty estrogen or excess. And that is what I think has made the biggest change for me in the past week is I feel like I'm kind of more in balance.
Mm,
So it's definitely to me, it's like I love the taste of it. I know sometimes you're just like, oh, I'm eating it for health, but I
mm.
actually really enjoy it. Um, and so for me, it's like it's an easy thing to have it. I don't have to be like, oh, here's like I really do believe in it, and maybe that's why it's helping as well, because I have pure faith that this carrot thing is going to
Yeah.
make them better. And
And
so
that
yeah,
might make it taste better. The belief might make it taste better, or it's a signal from your body that you need it more than me.
maybe
That could
yeah,
be another thing. That's why things
that's it.
our tastes change due to what we need, and you'll be thirsty when you need things. You'll taste salt, meaning that you need salt. The body has ways of letting you know what
Mm,
it is that you need. But yeah, the food stuff really, you're getting similar foods to me, just less quantity,
mhm.
less carbs, less sugar. But we're just trying to, guys, if you're out there, girls, guys, whatever, cook for yourself, wouldn't you say?
Yes,
Whatever, just
yes,
fruit, veg, meat, whatever you can do, whatever makes sense for now.
mhm.
Add the carrot salad. You got to get outside. You got to move your
Yeah,
body. You got to learn to breathe. A big one. If you remember, we are doing the breathing a couple of weeks ago. You really noticed how different our breathing patterns were. That would be
yeah,
interesting
that
to
was
go
weird.
back to. That would be interesting to go
Yeah.
back to at a natural state, what your breathing's doing now.
Mm.
So all the stuff that people read about, I think it all works. We mentioned before a little bit the fasting. You were looking to do some fasting. I don't
Yeah,
recommend it. You
no.
started it. I think you gave it a couple of days, then you got your period, and then just
I
never
got my
went.
period, so then I was like, and a lot of the time I don't eat breakfast anyway, so I haven't really given it much attention, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
And there's something I'm still wanting to look into, which was the fast like a girl book, but there
Yeah.
is some stuff counteracting that too. So
Yeah,
each their
that kind of goes against what's working for you at the moment, which is
yeah,
eating and living.
eating.
So
Give me
all
more
this,
food. Yeah.
all this stuff, guys, honestly, just my last take is it just comes back to getting in, you're out of balance. If you've got endometriosis or what we call endometriosis, which I've learned today isn't just down there and in the uterus and things like that. You can get endo on the brain, you can get it on the liver. It's just a thing, a growth, something to do with the glands, which means it has a lot to do with hormones. There's a reason it's happening, and it might be unfair and life's unfair, but you can do something. I really believe you can do something about it. It might take someone else 5 years. It might not be fully reversed, but you'll be able to stop the symptoms. Your body is out of balance, and you need to slowly bring it back into balance with food and life and living. Living's a huge part of it.
That's
So
it.
yeah,
I
thanks.
think
I
it's
just wanted to
very
say
slow.
I'll let you close out. You go on a rant as
Yeah,
well. I love my rants, but thanks for sharing. I know it just feels
that's
like it's you and I talking, but you know that people are going to watch this, so
yeah.
it's pretty cool to talk about that type of stuff. I don't know why I'm so cool with it. Like, I just don't
Yeah, you've
find it.
always been like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that that was uncommon out of
Mm.
guys. I get it because we have no idea, and it's blood. Like it can be. I get why guys would see it as gross and things like that. But hearing
Yeah.
about what your partner's going through is not gross at all, or what maybe your mum, your sister, the woman in your life. It's not
Yeah.
gross. It's cool. Help them out.
Yeah.
All right, that's my sixth rant. Go on yours.
But
Thanks.
yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity to, and thank you this whole time. It's been really easy to talk to you about it over the last couple of months and helping me with it and researching things for me and getting excited to help me heal it. It's been
That's
great.
a big
So
one.
yeah,
Excited to hear it though. Excited to work on it. And now you have the
yeah,
belief. Like this is like, yeah, we'll keep people updated maybe with how this goes because we're celebrating like you've won the grand final, but you've had one good
we've had one.
result. It's just felt the whole time we're like, this is getting better. Hey, it
Yeah.
was on time though. And this
Yeah.
it is supposed to be like this. Like it felt like it was getting